Hello and welcome to the Beth of Fresh Air, December 19, 2025. We're almost at the shortest day of the year. It never gets bright here anymore. It's the middle of the day, and we got an intense snowstorm, and it's dark. So I had to turn all the lights on today. But welcome. I'm back today with Dagmar Stansova, and I'm just going to make a few announcements before we get started and I bring her on. So, hello, Miss Eliza. Thanks for coming on the camera check. You guys can see me. I was having some trouble yesterday. That was a little panic, but hello, Mike New. Glad to have you here as well. So, yeah, I think you can just let me know if you can see me. That would be great. And so, just a couple of announcements. I want to let you know that coming up Friday, I'm going to be coming on with Alex Michael, a conspiracy music guru. That will be at 11 a.m. Central Time since he is in Spain. And then a little quiet over Christmas, and December 29, Jacob Lieberman is coming back on. Video is good. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. And so, yeah, we're going to be talking today with Dagmar Stansova again, and it is part 2 of Deculting Natural Health. This is a very big subject. I feel like it could go on and on into infinity, but you might catch some patterns. I am a pattern hunter and a lover of patterns. And they can show you don't necessarily need to know everything about everything once you see the patterns. So here, I'm just going to put this banner up. And without further ado, I'll bring Dagmar on. Hello and welcome, Dagmar. Thanks for coming.
Hello, Beth. I love that we're here with our favorite subject and get to break it down with our decades of experiences and and share with people what we've been through. Hopefully shed some light on, how a parent always wants to prevent their children from suffering. You're like, I just want you to know what I experienced.
It's kind of like that, exactly. And that's one of my claims to fame, is that I'm willing to share my mistakes. And I see that you are as well, so that someone else potentially could not make them and save themselves a little time and trouble and money and agony. And
yeah, there's something powerful about taking ownership of what decisions you've made and how you've influenced people. I mean, that's one of those things, like, no human being ever sees themselves as a villain in their own life. We all are doing our best, but tend to look back and see, oh, I actually kind of was a villain in someone else's life. When I look at what ways of eating I've been through and how many people I shared it with, there's a little bit of that, and the only thing that brings life back to me is to just be able to acknowledge and say, we're constantly learning.
Exactly. And that's a beautiful thing. It's to me, that's how I choose my friends, that they're not going to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, that's it. I know enough. I'm done. Not looking into anything anymore. Not going to upset the apple cart, which it does.
But that being said, I mean, my God, I feel so deeply for anyone who is on this journey where either they've had something not go right at some point in their life, and then they decided, okay, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to try that, or where they were just completely let down by Western medicine or even alternative medicine, where they realize, like, medicine's medicine. So, why don't I just look at what I'm putting in my body and understand it with greater depth? So, not that I'm qualified in any way whatsoever, to talk about any of this, but all I have is, I guess, right now, about 48 years of experience in not just trying one thing for a week or two, but for, like, we're talking year or two. So, and I have tried many things, as I heard you mention that in your podcast yesterday, where you're saying 27 things, but that's not even all of them. Different ways of eating. And did I notice a pattern while it was happening? Not really, because it's a very similar pattern. And once you're in it, you're in the groove. Like, one diet will say, 30% this, 40% that, and and another diet will say 80%, 10%, and 10%, dividing, the macronutrients. and they all have these little regimens, and it's so seductive because you think, oh my God, this is it. Now I'm really going to get it right. And to me, that's like the big pattern, that desire to like, I'm going to get this right. I'm the one thing, it's going to like really make it all okay. And then you so want it to be that way. And then even after a year, you're going, I feel worse, but I'm just not doing it perfectly enough.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it engages the programming that there's one of the programs, it's simply called a perfect program, and it wants to get it right, and it thinks that if I get it right, then I'm going to survive, which some people won't be able to relate to because they're like, no, I have no fear of dying whatsoever. But it really does. The programming has us by the short and curlies because of the threat that's behind it. And so I can very much relate to that and have been through a lot. Today, we're going to focus on ones that I don't have necessarily particular experience with, but because Dagmar does, that does make you qualified for this conversation. So, we're not pontificating about ideas here. This is lived experience. And we don't want to throw the baby in the bathwater out because pretty much every system has something good to offer, right?
Mhm.
So that's almost always the case. And it's the hard part where internally we might want, like, is this good or is this bad? And it's just not like that. That's back in the paradigm of protocols. And I caught myself with that yesterday in my interview with Kelsey, how talking about how holding the breath out makes you more what is it? Not immune, but it builds up your tolerance to CO2. And so I heard her answer and I accepted her answer. But later my brain is going, yeah, but is that good or is that bad? Is it good or is that bad? Should I hold my breath out all day long like I want to or like I can? And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it's interesting mechanisms that take place around this. It's not just information. It's very much the other side of things. But we're going to go one for one. We'll see how far we get through this list, and I'm going to be asking you the questions, and we'll see, if we can keep it to 3, max 5 minutes on every topic. We might very well get to the end.
Mhm.
And so I'm excited for this because it's kind of like studying religions where I didn't get involved with every religion, but I
Mhm.
love hearing the nuances and the little slips and changes. I did have one woman in my life she was actually forced to study every version of Christianity so that they could refute it as Jehovah's Witnesses. And so she was just a wealth of information on all of these different, and because I just think of it as one world, but it's not by any stretch of the imagination. So having said all of that, should we dive in?
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay, all right. And do chime in the chat here if you have any experience to share or questions. We're happy to answer where we can. So the first one is the Body Ecology Diet. That's by Donna Gates. It's an anti-candida, lots of fermented foods, food combining. So now reading this, I have some experience with it. But what did you find first that is good awareness for you within that?
Um, Well, just any kind of discipline. It brought awareness to the microbiome, the gut. So it did bring that to my attention, but I was still so far off from having any clue as to, what the function of candida might be, why you would have candida to begin with, and what kind of toxins does candida favor? Why does it multiply and show up? So I was, pretty clueless, but I stuck to it and I kept doing it. And, it was those days when it was the 80s, and everybody's doing like, the brown rice. Everything is whole grain, whole grain, whole grain, whole wheat. Everything should be whole, whole, whole. Unbeknownst to me, that actually is not the best for your gut because it's very high in oxalates, and it supports uh, um, the epithelial, the lining of the intestine being quite scratched and poked and prodded, and thinking that because I was eating brown rice and I would slather it with olive oil and salt. So in a way, it kind of simply helped me go like, oh, this is kind of simple, I can be with this. So I started to change my palate from like, oh, I have to go to a Mexican or an Indian restaurant to enjoy food. um, but what really struck me at some point, which was later, maybe 10 years later, I wasn't doing it anymore, but the woman who was sharing this, a very lovely woman, but she ended up having all kinds of face work, like, plastic surgery. And at that time, it just, and she never mentioned it. And she's talking about, this is the diet, look how great I look. And I was going like, I don't know. It just made me feel like it, like I didn't know what the truth was, but I could tell that there was something off here, if she had to do that, or if she, but that, not to judge people who do, because I totally get it. I get it. As long as you're open about it, and when people ask you, you'll go, oh yeah, I did facial, whatever. Um, so that diet was basically, it also got me frightened of anything sweet, like a banana. I was totally not on the right track. And just to answer, remember that person who asked a question at the end of the part one that we did? Remember that person who mentioned something like, so are you saying this diet is that everything else is terrible except for this diet? Remember that question?
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering if maybe we should come to that at the end. I totally want to answer. I totally want to answer that just in case, because it'll be a rabbit hole of its own
That's true.
in the
That's
explanation. I just wanted to add that I totally ruined my son with brown rice. This was I didn't even know what to call this diet, but I had obviously adopted parts of it. And yeah, it was such a bad news thing for a baby to have brown rice. Oh my goodness, I have big regrets with that.
yeah,
Ferments, interesting. I ended up like just literally, because I had good results with ferments at the beginning, typical. And then I thought more is better. So I would gob out on fermented foods and kefirs, make all my own vegetables and everything like that. And I realized that by the time I got to Garrett's work, had overdone it so severely, and not surprising that all the effects had diminished, all that goodness. And I was just out of habit. I kept doing that stuff. So now I've gone the other direction. Some probiotic food is good. So now I have a half a cup at the most, maybe a quarter cup of kefir every day, done. And I don't bomb my body with lactobacilli, which may or may not be the right bacteria for you. That's another thing, right? Like
yeah.
I force fed my son that too, and he's a guy, probably not the best for him. So he's pretty happy that I don't do that anymore. I like your point about being frightened of anything sweet and how many people may have ended up unable to digest carbohydrates in the process of trying to remove all sweetness, which you really can't do. But yeah, I tried hard for sure.
Yeah, and oftentimes when you switch from one way of eating to another and you really stick to it, like me, I'm the good student. I'm gonna, respect the teacher and do what the teacher said. Um, when just switching from anything to anything, you will feel better because your body will, either you're adding something that's really toxic, which will create a reaction and shut down a detox. So yeah, it feels like, wow, this is miracle. It's a miracle. It's working. I feel so good. I have so much energy. Right. And then it starts to go down and you just then want to ignore it. You just want to pretend that it's not really happening because we're trained to deny. It's not just denial is not just a river in Egypt. It's something that we are, as it's a survival strategy. So we don't, it feels terrible to tell yourself like, oh, what I'm doing is not working or what I'm doing is bad for me. It's an awful feeling.
Oh, exactly.
And you have to process stuff. So as you're doing this, dieting adventure or trying to address, basically you're questioning and addressing Western civilization. You're questioning something that is just totally accepted. You go to a cafe in Italy or in New York, they're going to serve you espresso. And that's absolutely the way it should be. Why else go to a cafe, and you're going to eat whatever, crumpets they have. So it's, yeah, it does require a capacity to be okay with being outside of the normal, the normal way of being.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. So in the name of time, we're going to move on
Good.
and go to Fit for Life, which is Harvey and Marilyn Diamond fruit-based
Yeah.
morning living foods. Is this like the same as a raw food
Well,
diet?
very similar. Same with the Donna Gates diet. It's very focused on plants.
Hmm.
Very plant focused, and
Hmm.
protein is just a little bit. I think what did Donna? She said only 20% of your food will be protein,
Okay.
and the Fit for Life is just something that actually my mother started to do that when she was head of the anesthesia department in New Jersey. She was trying to lose some weight, and she was all excited, like, "Oh my God, you just have fruit for breakfast." And made her so happy that it was fast. And so it's basically just another kind of leading you towards the raw vegan, eat things live. And so that was kind of not a big deal diet.
And so what did you find is good and right in there?
um Yeah, well, okay, that's with that one. I mean, it's just the focus on living foods. That's good, I think it's a lovely concept, but again, so misleading that you should be eating all these vegetables and fruits. That's where the life is. So that's a good thing. And with Donna's diet, I mean, all the ferments. It's an interesting concept, even though ferments are basically it's like it's rotted food. Um, so
So that's some overlap there with the Fit for Life diet.
yeah, yeah. I can't say that I guess with the body ecology diet, I can't say that there was anything really great. Some of the other diets, yes. The Fit for
Okay,
Life,
but we'll just go with one at a time if that's okay.
yeah.
And then so there's not much to fall back on there except that value for fresh food, which that's
And,
pretty good.
and for normal people, yeah, it's a really big step up, to just eat more cleanly, more organic, um, live foods, all of that, and exercise, so it's not like a big, it's just people know how to market things really well, but they're not really marketing anything new,
Right,
but
right, yeah,
they
yeah,
had a name, Fit for Life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was more of a mainstream. So we'll go right on then to the diet zone,
The
which
zone
is
diet, the zone diet.
the zone diet with Barry Sears, macro ratios, and omega-3 focus, and no fats in veggies, but this is, or pardon me, in fruit and so then
The
where
zone,
do you want to start? What are the macro ratios? Can you define that for me?
yeah, macro ratio was like, I believe it was 40% carbs, 30 protein, and 30 fat. And so this was a very mathematical diet where you'd be like half an apple with 3 almonds, and a 1 ounce of cheese together. So you'd always have this particular ratio. And that was kind of fun. And it also did um, simplify my palate again, made me more okay with just simple foods, and you could travel with it easily. And I tormented my poor mother and father with this diet. And
And
so
so in addition to being a simplification of a way to eat, what other benefits do you think are in there? Or
uh,
is that it?
I I mean, it's kind of well-rounded, sort of the way the toxic bio paradigm is what we're eating right now. To me, it's a very well-rounded diet. There's protein, there's fats, and there's carbs.
Right,
You
right.
know,
Yeah,
the,
and where this one would likely fall down is in the added fat and that idea that the omegas are the brain food. And I know I used to chase the omegas, and then I was eating that MCT oil, which is disgusting, by the way. Especially don't do anything to it. It immediately rots and goes rancid. I yeah, really regretted that. And then, as it turns out, the fat that you add to your food gives your body a natural storage place for the poison that otherwise might just move through you. So that's the reason to get, and if we compare it to Garrett's work, he's always looking at what is the smallest effective amount of something that you could get. So yes, we need some fat, but as it turns out, our muscle meats contain plenty of fat. In fact, I'm in the habit of draining off the fat from the meat, whereas before I used to like, oh, bring on the fat as much as you could get. And so, yeah, I never thought I would agree with my parents on a low fat thing, but here I am. So,
Yeah, which is why some of those diets that require high fat can be delusional for longer, or can keep the illusion going for longer, because you're constantly adding so much more fat to store things in. So you can go on much, much longer going like, oh, this is great, I'm great, right? But you're still kicking the can down the road. That's my favorite expression of Dr. Smith's.
very
Kicking
useful.
the can down the road.
Exactly. Yeah, I can totally relate. I did that for many years until I couldn't. And then I had to seek deeper knowledge. So quickly, couple of questions here. We'll just zoom through them. Fermented cabbage is, the green cabbage is low A, but high in sulfur. So
Yeah.
that's the main. I lost my taste for sauerkraut altogether. I never thought that would happen. I threw out the last batches. And yeah, so I know it's so popular. It's possible that was a product of, no refrigeration and the threat of starvation and the ability, okay, we got the cabbages now, find a way to preserve them so that we can eat later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then is one of these topics going to go deep on oxalates? Because Maya had a question.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, so we'll save that one, Maya. We're not ignoring. Yeah, they're ignoring. All right. So here's a next one, which is fun. This is so fun for me. I love this. Thank you, Dagmar. I'm glad you have all this experience. And so the blood type diet, I'll just quickly say, I remember I believe I had the book at the time when I was sick with cancer. I was living across the country but to work with a naturopath who had more experience in treatment of cancer than anybody. And I showed him the book and he said, that's garbage, get away from me. So I just kind of left it at that, but it has persisted for a very long time. So first of all, do you think there is some benefit in it? Where does it?
Well, I think the benefit of that one is that it's the first time that I even heard of this concept of lectins.
Okay.
But it still didn't sink in. It took another at least 2 decades after that for that to really sink in and grasp that.
And
Because
what about lectins? So they're like, I heard this too, that they're just not good for you. They're
it's a protein that's basically nature's way, because nature does not, or nature, let's just say plants, they can't attack and they can't eat you or bite you. So this is how they defend themselves. They make their own poisons, which are kind of, you can look at them as pesticides, poisons, phenols. There's all kinds of, that people tell you now are good for you. Because the whole concept of hormesis and all that, people say, well, a little poison is good for you because it's good for your immune system. It gets you going. It's like saying a little death is good for you. So, it had, there's something about it. It was very clever. I think a lot of this is just really good marketing.
Yeah.
And this is your field. I mean, how powerful that can be. Just the title, Fit for Life, or blood type diet, and then dividing it into, each blood type with their personality traits and with the foods that are beneficial, that are neutral, and that are just do not eat, So you just look at this, and again, it plays on that desire to be good and to do the right thing, the perfection, programming that you talked about. it's so seductive, you know, where you look at like, oh, I'm a blood type B. Oh, that means, oh, yeah, I should not eat that avocado, or, you know, or, oh, that chicken, it's killed all my ancestors because Jews should not eat. Yeah, that's why they have all these diseases, because of the chicken they eat. And now I think about, now that I understand the toxic bile paradigm, I'm like, oh, it's not the chicken, it's the tons of chicken fat and the chicken livers, you know. But it's, you know, all these conclusions, they're just, they sound so good because they're presented so beautifully, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Mhm.
and but, just looking at it, like, what are good for you, like it'll say coffee, if you're an A type, is really good for you, it's a positive, you know, it's beneficial. And I'm like, I didn't realize it then, but now I'm like, wow, you know. It's also their so-called testing is done on the unhealthiest as part of the population, you know. And they're eating not even organic, it's just, you know, they're eating like canned tomato paste. um Come on, you know. So it's, there's really, apparently, I haven't gone deep into the study of it, but there's really no real proof. You know, this is what's his name, Dadamo. It's his, he took his father's work and then created an interesting concept around it. So
Right.
that would
Right.
be my my conclusion from that diet. But I have all their books.
Right, right. Yeah, I was gonna say like that the seductive part of having somebody just hand you like, "Oh, here's you, and then here's your protocol, your foods that you can eat and thrive on and that are good for you." And it saves you all of the detective work of needing to actually get to know yourself and your understand your relationship. You know, because I had this idea, apple's good. There's good fiber in there and it's low A. But then 3 times I eat an apple and I get a sign from my stomach going like, no, don't like this. And it's like, oh, okay, that's new. And it took me a few tries, but I did that work and I just simply am not having apples right now. I'll probably go back to them at some point, but but it's not that apples are bad. It's just that it's not working in my body right now. So
I just love what you just said when you said that it's like handed to you. That made me think of religion. You know, like when it's handed to you, you feel like, oh, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go do all the, you know, the detective work internally, you know, to see like, what does God mean to me? You know, and it's a great thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's a beautiful thing when something is handed to you and you're in a place where like, oh, you know, it just, it really centers and focuses your life. So there's nothing wrong with any of this. You know, I'm never saying that this is bad, this is wrong. It's part of the journey, you know. And wherever you end up, like, some diet for some person at some point in their life may be just the right thing for a couple of weeks or months, right? But it may be the worst thing for somebody else, you know, because we're all in different stages. But it drives me crazy when people say, well, everybody's different, everybody's unique. Yeah, yeah, we all have organs, we all have a heart, we all have a brain. So we are, I think, more alike than different. But we do have different ways of getting rid of crap, getting rid of poisons, you know. And
mhm,
we're at different stages of that. Like, if you're 12, you're going to have, hopefully, a lot less accumulated toxins than if you're 70.
mhm.
So, so that's, anyway, that's just an aside, but go on, go with the next, what's the next one? Oh, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, yeah. That it's funny with the blood type because gave so much blood, not donation, but I was tested so many times, and I never ever found out my blood type, which was hilarious. So I couldn't even go down this road. But yeah, so next on the list is Genefit Nutrition, blindfolded raw eating guided by smell.
Yeah, it's called the Gene Fit diet.
Gene.
And I know both of these people who started and they wrote a book. That was the most fascinating diet I was ever on. That really taught me something really interesting about, you know, how tuned in we are. And it's based on the concept, and it's, you only eat things completely raw, but it includes meat, fish, eggs, honey, vegetables, and fruits. So that's, and organs and all of that. But the way that you eat is you blindfold yourself, and only rich people can afford to be on this diet because every time you eat, you just have to have a big table and you put, like 10 different fruits, 10 different vegetables, 5 different meats and fish, and you blindfold yourself and you smell each one. And the one that makes you really salivate is the one that you end up eating and you only eat one at a time. So it was fascinating because what I found is that, like, a strawberry one day smelled like gasoline, same batch of strawberries, and then the next day it might smell like strawberry shortcake. And so the concept of this is that your olfactory senses will let you know what your body needs to keep building itself. So it was a great idea, and I was so enamored of that because they had a child, and like with children, you can really like do that, spread the table and see what they'll be really drawn to eating. But it was completely not practical, and the fact that it included the eggs, and no dairy, though. There was absolutely no dairy. That's not considered part of natural food. But it really taught me a lot about how, our sense of smell is quite phenomenal. That one food, when it's in its true raw state, not cooked, so it doesn't count for anything that's been heated or had any kind of chemical reaction. So, but I was like, wow, my nose can completely have a totally different smell, um, depending on where I'm at, what day it is, and how I feel.
Right, so that would be one of the strengths, because I noticed that right now I thrive on higher potassium, so I'm drinking potassium chloride water. It tastes good and yummy to me. When I put that stuff on food, that tastes good. But there may come a time where I'm like, oof, what's that?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, in the Gene Fit diet, anything that is like a supplement would not count. But I too have that same response with potassium citrate. I
okay.
love the taste of it.
And I hate it, and it will cause me a bile dump after like 4 or 5 days of using a citrate right now. I want to make one quick point about the salivating, and it's possible. I don't know. I haven't verified this, but I just thought of it that the more you salivate, the more it's. Let's check this if this is true or not. The less digestible it is. Like literally, the more. That's why a piece of gum will create so much saliva, because it's desperately trying to break the gum down, and making enzymes and sending the which is actually your blood, by the way. The saliva is your blood coming through the glands and
Mhm.
becoming saliva. So what do you think of that? Is that
Well, I think that
good thinking, or?
from my little experience with the Gene Fit diet, that was the shortest one I did. That was only a couple of months. Um, was that when you would taste that strawberry, or if it was a piece of meat, raw meat, and you would taste it, when it smelled pleasant, and you would salivate, the flavor of it would actually be like heaven. You'd be like, having orgasms. Like a piece of meat could taste like indescribable, almost sweet, so there's something about, uh which really, we can question, what are we as human beings that we can change the flavor of something?
Right, yeah, so no opinion on that one, so I'll leave that open, and then
Leave that one open, I would.
yeah, if anybody has any details on that. And so we'll move now to the raw primal diet. Some in common with the other. You're saying Agenus and Vonder.
Angeles von der Planets, yeah, that was the diet that I was on the longest, and that is a very high fat, raw dairy, uh, raw meat, raw organs kind of a diet, which Garrett Smith has been on that or tried it.
Yeah, and many of the people that he's worked with as well came from the raw food, raw meat. So this would include no plant material, correct?
Oh no, but there's plenty of fruits and
Oh,
vegetables,
Okay.
and green juice is a big part of it. Celery, parsley, cilantro type juices.
Okay.
Um, yeah, there's but a lot of raw dairy, raw cream, those kind of fun foods. What else about the raw and things like ceviche and all basically raw meats and fish. Um, yeah, and lots of butter,
Okay.
which
Yeah,
I'm
and then so the premise being that being raw, it is unadulterated. Like it was, I think David Avocado Wolf would say, cooked food is poison. And they would point to some weird biochemistry that would happen in the heating process, which I believe some of it can be true. But again, when you get a molecule, when you're down to the molecular level, a molecule of calcium is a molecule of calcium. It like it now our what we know is to be vitamins are destroyed in the cooking process. That if that's true, that's good because most of those vitamins are actually toxins.
yeah.
So in a way that gives some credence much more to cooked food, which I gravitated towards. I did my raw food, although I never did raw meat. I didn't do raw dairy until recently when we got our contraband. Should I say that online? I don't know. And so yeah, the whole there is a certain detox that comes from it. I did experience what I thought to be benefits, but here's one important point I also talked about with Kelsey yesterday is around that a lot of especially say the green juices and the raw plant food and the raw organ meat will get you high because of the poison content, especially copper.
Yeah,
And
and a lot of times people mistake, they think, "Oh, this is great, I'm detoxing." You are just removing what you intoxed. So people think they're getting some deep detox, but it's just you're constantly adding more and more of it. And yes, you do get high. I even on my YouTube channel, I still have it on there where I do liver shots, with raw milk, and I would take raw liver, put it into a little shot glass, and swish it down. It was disgusting, but man, I would even say like, oh, this is like coffee without the caffeine. Because you do feel incredibly like suddenly your eyesight gets sharper. And not that I want to seduce anybody into getting into this, but basically it puts you into so much fight or flight. The poison of it is so strong that even like I'm talking like a little pill-sized piece of liver that I would, swash down, and it would be like, whoa, you feel alert because there's an emergency going on. There's a poison coming in. So yes, you're alert, awake, your eyesight is better, your hearing is better, and you have energy because you're about to die. Your body's going, come on now, you know. So
exactly. Yeah, it's a drug-like effect, and drugs are poisons, and you get high for a reason, and your body's probably even sending off endorphins, saying like, "Oh, you're being hurt, poor thing. Here's some painkillers to go along with that." Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And but with like the green juice drink, where you that cilantro and celery juice and all that, it's really hard to grasp. It took me a long time. I think it was Dr. Chafee's lecture that he gave on plants are trying to kill you, where he talked about that it just started to register. I'm going, oh, that's why I feel like shit, why I don't want to drink that celery parsley juice. But I've sold myself on that it is good for me.
Exactly. And an excellent point when you think that it's detoxing you, because every time I had a green juice, I've also something else would happen. And it's like you say, your body's just going, oh, in with the poison. Oh, it's the poison.
Like run to the toilet. Same thing, sometimes with cream that I would do, and I thought, "Oh, wow, this cream is really detoxifying me." You know, lucky me. Um, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Raw organs, that is dedication. I could barely eat a cooked one myself. So luckily I never did dose on any of that.
I took
Well,
some pills, though. You never took organ pills?
never. No, I just my brain wouldn't go there. So it's like I got it. It got an FU. Just I had no reason. I just didn't. It's a lot of my brain saved me from a lot of stuff that way. pretty happy. So yeah, and yes, we agree that alcohol is a poison. Absolutely. Yep. So all right, we're just
Also, just as an aside to people who might ever try this kind of diet, the women who were on this diet always ended up really overweight and miserable. And the men always had this funky, stinky, old cheese smell from all that raw dairy, you know? And it was
oh
like, "Oy, yay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
never I never did it enough, like, as intensely as everybody else did it, you know, I still had some part of me that was like, "Okay, well, wait a second, I don't know about I'm not doing no smoothie with a blended kidneys in it or blended liver with, you know, fruits." No.
Oh my goodness.
But
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. So we're going to go on to Douglas Graham's 80-10-10 diet, which is high carb, raw, vegan, tissue breakdown. Does that mean promoting the autophagy, the glorified autophagy?
it's just an extremely detoxifying diet.
Hmm.
So well, it's really not I mean, that's my old language saying that it's detoxifying. Really what it is that it is so full of poison that you just can't stop and you keep trying to get it out
So
and
the
you lose a lot of weight. I mean, it's mostly, it's 80%, you know, plants, carbs, 10% protein, 10% fat, and
okay.
only fat from nuts. It's all raw. And it's like, you know, some of the people on that diet, I mean, when I was on it, like I would eat like, you know, uh, 10 bananas easily, you know, or, you know, 8 peaches, you know, it was like, and the other thing that all these raw diets do, they will destroy your teeth.
Right. With a high carb kind of thing and a ton of fruit and everything like that. Yeah.
And then you're adding even dry fruits. I mean, it is just a only really young people can sustain this for a while.
Right. Right.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, for anybody that struggles with constipation, take the dry fruits and I think all dried foods out of your diet or rehydrate them before you use them. I think even dried meat will qualify for that because the it instantly is going to pull water from your body to hydrate and in order because you can't digest anything without water. It's just not going to, and you're not going to detox anything without a medium it's going to move out on. So yeah, the dried fruits, I'll barely like I'll have, one fig, even though it's kind of on the love your liver path for some calcium, but I just have to back off. And then yeah, the nuts, I ruined myself completely from that. Very high in oxalates, high in the fats that you don't necessarily need or want.
Mhm.
And then yeah, the high carb is good because it's better than the low carb. At least your body won't become maladaptive to carbohydrates in the process. But I'm guessing also, some elephant in the room with the 80% plant diets is too much fiber. And I think about it now, I'm thriving at this current stage. I'm thriving on less fiber, not zero. I get a little bit with my meals, but or I mean a decent amount, maybe a quarter cup of beans, and I will have cooked celery or some other low wave veg, but not like I was gorging on before, and especially all of the lettuces that are super high in insoluble fiber, which is just like a bulldozer, like you were saying, the injuries from the inside, all of that fiber becomes such a labor and a workout, and it just doesn't need a scraper. Especially women compared to men need more scraping, but women tend to need much less of that.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah. And is it too like see here's a good question. Is it true too much fiber causes colon cancer? So you can't answer it like this. That's like saying is fiber good or is fiber bad? So this is
mhm,
going to be entirely contextual for each individual as you go through and it's going to change. Right.
mhm,
So personally, I was eating way too much fiber. I would get totally either backed up or I would get major bile dumps and my bowels still wouldn't move nicely with all that fiber. So yeah, you have to find your Goldilocks
Mhm.
place, which means your exact right amount for right now back to the detective work. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
yep. Yep. And do you have a chocolate diet on here, by the way?
Well, that's the superfoods diet.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. So we're
I
getting the
of
chocolate, Jackie.
course,
Yeah, just so you know.
of course.
Nice. All right, this is fun. So the next one, the Hippocrates Institute Diet by Anne Wigmore. I recognize her name, and Bryant Clement. Vegan, raw, and wheatgrass. So they brought wheatgrass to us, did they?
Yeah, well, that's part of the Hippocrates Institute is in Florida, and man, I bought all those books, all those fruitarian guys, and I remember going to a big conference of this, and uh, Brian Clement, who looks very strong and muscular, for he was young then. I don't know how he is now, but obviously it was working for him for a moment, like everything works. And I know part of it is probably because he's got a whole institute based on it. But I remember his very lovely wife was coming to speak to us, and she walked up on stage and she passed out. And I remember that was when I was like, and I'm going, "This is not working for her." But she's the wife, so and she was so lovely, but she's, I think, of Swedish descent or somewhere from the Viking area, and her just eating this raw vegan diet and all that wheatgrass was, and she had, I think they have a couple of kids too. So that was when I was like, "Oh, something is not working here." But they help people with cancer, people go there to the institute and they feed them their raw meals. So everything works for a moment at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you said, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
And and it's a path, people sometimes start the path and maybe it gives them time. So, you know, who am I to say? But well, the only thing that I have to say is that I've been there, and I hope that nobody has to go through so many paths as I did.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that wheatgrass, it's so nasty. I think you guys heard me say it, that I was taking, doing the 1 shot or the 2 shots, and then I think one day I had 3, and the whole thing just came right back up. It was just went like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like this, right? And, yeah, I think, "Oh, I'm really detoxing now." It's like, "No, no, been poisoned." But I didn't go back. There was something like my system is good. It will override even if I've got some belief or intellectual knowledge. I'm just like, okay, I'm just backing away and I can't explain it and I don't need to either. So yeah, that disgusting stuff is super high. And we're very lucky for the animals. They eat the grass and they take the poison and they stick it in their liver and give us nice clean muscle meat, or at least relatively clean. So yeah, yeah. And yeah, so there is a little bit swearing sometimes around here, Chrissy. So you could I don't know what you can do there, but just so you know, there is some, and I don't do it a whole lot, but I
Yeah,
will for emphasis.
I'll try to contain myself. I'll take the old country farmer out of me for a moment.
Right. Yeah. And so we'll go on now to fruitarianism, not entirely unrelated to the Hippocrates,
Yeah,
but
it's
fruit
all
only.
going that same path, it's
Mhm.
just, I mean, insane and I did it, and I think that's when I really started to see, like, some really bad things happening, but I still didn't connect it. Like, I developed a sun allergy, you know,
Oh,
and
darn.
that my body was trying to get stuff out through my skin, and the sun promotes detox, so every time the sun hit me, it would be like I get these hives, and that messed me up for and I'm still working on that. That was what kept me going all these years from one thing to another until I found, this paradigm, which is the only one that explains, um, what's happening and is having an actual effect. So,
Right, right,
yeah.
got it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so let's just a little bit of detail here with a pure fruit diet. You're getting such low protein. And what that means is that your body will not be able to make basic building blocks for, whether it's building muscle or repairing or all of that kind of thing. Like the fallout from a lack of protein is ginormous. They go to the third world and give them vitamin A shots, but really it's probably a severe deficiency of protein. I don't know if you want to say anything more about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there's I just thought of another one that I was on as you mentioned that it was have you ever heard of the body electric? People did all kinds of energetic work and part of their premise was that they also did only raw and focused on a lot of fruits and things like that. And all those people, my God, where they ended up if they kept going and going with that, what that lack of protein. I remember one of the leaders of this great movement, he said to me, he said, anything that has structure is a protein. I'm going, okay. And he actually became blind
Oh, darn.
from
That's
eating
sad.
a raw vegan. He was older, and he kept doing it, kept going and going and preaching and teaching all this stuff about, getting your minerals from your juices. And he would also add humic and fulvic, those kind of minerals too. And I remember and that was very high in raw chocolate of any kind. And I remember at that time that I was just constantly sitting on the toilet and I thought, oh, I'm really cleaning out nonstop.
I know the belief is just a really hard one. And so the fulvic minerals and it was fulvic and humic, did you say?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. And what's the deal? I also never wanted to take those. What's wrong
Well,
with them?
humic minerals is very similar to shilajit.
Okay.
Is the shilajit is the Indian version, but it's ancient uh, plant, just decomposed. And the fulvic is just an extraction from the humic, and it's more concentrated. But everybody's like, "Oh, this is the best stuff ever because it helps you absorb everything, and it will heal your teeth, and it's fully absorbable minerals." And you're just, um, I stopped those when I got to the low oxalate um, diet. That's when it started to dawn on me. Wait a second, these are ancient plants. Uh,
Right.
and we're not talking, grapes and apples. We're talking plants, vines, or whatever was growing back then.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's so funny they managed to sell them dirt, right, effectively because the plants turn into dirt. And then we get to buy that. It's good. Just
Yeah,
go and dig
and
it
you
from
pay
the
a
backyard.
lot of money for it.
Right, exactly. I know it's like, "Ooh, Sheila, do you eat like this?"
Well, and also shilajit, you get pretty high from it. Same with the humic,
Right,
and it can
right.
have good effects. I noticed that, like, the humic really did when I was having some dental work done, and I did a lot of those, they did kind of firm up my teeth.
Okay.
But was it long term or was it just short term? I don't
Right.
know.
Right,
I
right,
don't
yeah. Yeah, putting your body into a state of, not detoxing, meaning the bile won't be in the blood and it won't be, washing the mouth, which, like I said, the saliva is a kind of form of blood or comes from the blood. And so, yeah, your teeth could improve while you don't have a lot of bile in your system and you're not detoxing, but like you said, just kick in the can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And now I don't do any of that, and my teeth are stronger than ever. Uh,
amazing.
yeah, I'm in month 15. What are you in?
I think we're about the same. Yeah, I've been saying 14, but it might be about that. Yeah, it was, uh, September, October, I started last year.
Yeah, me too. September I started. Yeah.
Right, right, yeah, I think we're on the same schedule, so. All right, so we're moving along now to the macrobiotic diet from, Michio Kushi,
Yeah.
a yin-yang balance and seasonal eating.
Yeah.
So what are the positives here?
Well, eating what's in your environment, that's a positive.
Mhm,
And there's a certain kind of a ritualistic cleanliness or more of a spiritual aspect of the yin and the yang of foods, to it that I kind of enjoyed. Um, it's very monk-like, the way everything is served and all of that. Um, but I didn't do well on it, and I've seen other people who didn't because there's so little protein too. Once in a while you'll do a fish, but there's really, which is so interesting that you're eating from your environment, but there's no rabbits or birds or anything in your environment. There's only like fish. So there was something off about that. And I saw people who were, it's just a very high carb diet. It's just cooked, but still plant-based, focused
Okay.
on plants. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so would it be lacking in protein as well then?
Yeah, I would say it would
Mhm,
be
mhm.
very much lacking in protein.
Do
But
you in your opinion, could you get enough protein from a vegetarian diet?
I tried. I
Mhm,
really tried.
mhm,
I couldn't. I couldn't.
mhm.
And I paid for it because I
Right.
really wanted to. I was just so like, I don't want to eat these animals, which for me was a big, big process to go internally to recognize that I too have a predator with a higher conscience, so that at least I can, when I do eat the animal, I had to, own what that is, that, yeah, I am eating something else. Because not wanting to eat an animal, I also didn't want to own that part of me. And so I've had to like do a whole journey with that. And whenever I do eat animals, I take it very seriously. And I do eat animal every day. I take it like whatever I'm eating, I do have to, not have to, but it just feels like to pay honor to life and to give something from myself in the world, that I'm doing this for more life, not just to like suck life off of something else. So that's my
Beautiful.
that's my way of addressing it. But
Yeah, I bet that's gonna help somebody because that can be a really big hang up that, they're not against meat except on the ethical, personal, their own emotional side and relationship with that. I was gonna say, by the way, for the vegetarian kind of a diet, you probably technically could get 50 grams minimum of protein a day, but you'll probably get way too much fiber in the process. That's where it would fall down with me anyway.
mhm.
Yeah,
You'd have to eat more quantities too,
exactly. Yeah.
which I like the simple, I like to feel that when I eat, I don't wanna have to feel it digesting.
Mhm.
That used to be normal for me. Every time I'd eat, my stomach, in the morning, it would be nice and flat. By the end of the day, it would be more, distended. And so that's doesn't happen anymore, ever. You
Yeah.
know, that's a really great plus. Like if I knew I was gonna have a date or something, I couldn't eat the whole day. Now I can eat whenever I want.
Nice, nice. And, yeah, so if we go on, the specific carbohydrate diet, SCD, illegal foods for gut conditions. Do you wanna
Yeah,
say
yeah,
something
yeah,
about that?
that SCD, well, that because I was convinced, how we convince ourselves and how, again, it's all advertising. You have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I was like, "Yes, that's what I have. That's why my stomach is this way, and that's why, I don't feel well, and that's why I have a sun, issue." So I was like, "That's what it is. It's I have to go on this specific carbohydrate diet." And all lists of legal and illegal, again, very seductive. Ooh. But one of the things that I did learn there was the distinction between monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. And so basically on this diet, you avoid all poly and di, which are just sugars. So di is two sugars, poly is many sugars, and monosaccharides is one sugar. So you only eat things that are monosaccharides because those are easier to digest and to absorb and all of that kind of stuff. So I did discover that many things like preservatives are polysaccharides, and things that surprised me, were polysaccharides. So that was educational, but it still didn't do anything for me because I was still eating the monosaccharide vegetables, still eating my celery juice, drinking my juice, and eating my tomatoes, whatever. So it was just another kind of God, what would you call it? Just another restriction. And yeah, I just it was just so much effort and energy, just like measuring things, and calculating this you had to like, make sure that you avoid this. And then I used to make my own yogurt, and I was so proud of this. I would make a yogurt that really had no polysaccharides, where you get the culture for it from one place only, that had nothing in it but the acidophilus, the two particular cultures that you put into a yogurt, but no other weird things added. And you make this special SCD yogurt that you ferment for 24 hours. And again, you're just taking in the dairy, taking in the A, thinking that you're doing the best thing for your gut. And it didn't do anything, but I kept doing it. That didn't stop me from sticking to it. Yeah, so that's that one.
I was watching a dumb show called The Good Place. Someone in the House of Free Will turned me on to that. Unfortunately, I'm now addicted. I'm gonna have to watch them. We might do a House of Free Will event. And so they pegged the one person. He's supposed to be a monk, but he's really in disguise. He's not a monk at all. And so they gave him what he thought he wanted, a special glass of yak milk. And so he goes to drink it, and then he goes bleh. Like his body just rejected it. It just kind of came right back out, and is like, yeah, that's a smart tongue there, you know. So yeah, I hear camel milk is a little better for us, which is weird, and I can't go there personally at all for
Yeah,
Baron.
I got it. I got the camel milk powder, and
Mhm.
I got some frozen camel milk. I still have it. And
Yeah,
really, the only thing, I could see it serving a purpose for people who just really aren't ready to get over certain addictions.
yeah.
'Cause I could restart an addic like, all I have to do is get some decaf or some fake coffee and put some camel milk in it, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm back in the zone of some addiction." 'Cause it reminds me of that, like, "Ooh, now I'm really a writer because 'cause I'm drinking fake coffee with my camel milk."
Well, isn't that interesting? Because fake foods actually do promote the addiction to the real thing. I noticed that. So I started making this beautiful cookies. They're amazing with erythritol at the time, which I know is bad and wrong now. And when I had them, I couldn't eat 1 or 2 or 4. Oh my goodness, I'd just sit and gorge on them. I had the idea that they're healthy. Meanwhile, made with almond flour, so couldn't be higher in oxalates. And but it was like so hungry for me. Like I really yum 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 wanted this. And then I would feel sick. And then I finally, okay, I'm just not making cookies anymore. This ain't working for me. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When you get that, do you know about erythritol? Why it's bad and wrong, say compared to a xylitol that your body actually
Um,
makes?
I think it has to do with some kind of an alcohol. Um, yeah, I'm not sure
Okay.
that would be a good Garrett question.
Yeah, they're all alcohols. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to bring that up with either Garrett or Kelsey. She'd be good.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet.
By the way, that was such an awesome interview with Kelsey yesterday.
Oh, good.
I loved it. I hope you do it more.
Yeah, I'd grab both of them every week if I could. So I'd try to make my requests a little bit speckled over the year. Yeah, fake foods, Chrissy Taylor, exactly. Fake foods are the worst, especially fake meat. I've never put that in my mouth. Was that true? I've not certainly not recently, but I guess I did my tofu dogs and my vegetarian days and some of those burgers, but it wasn't sustainable because they just weren't good enough for one to make me want them. And then yeah, all that. Are we going to be talking about soy in here?
Well, yeah, I mean, why not? I mean,
Mhm,
yeah, I mean, we know it's estrogenic and,
mhm.
also oxalates,
Also, okay.
yeah, yeah, and God knows what else. I mean, it's just like if you ever watch that episode with Dr. Chafee, he talks plants are trying to kill you, and you just realize like just Brussels sprouts, I think they have like 300 different toxins in them, like when you really grasp that. And that took me so long, 'cause I did all this research about the sun allergy, and it said something like, "Oh, well, celery makes you photosensitive." And I was like, "What?" I just still I didn't wanna believe it.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, this must be some obscure research by some crazy people," because I just could not associate plants with actually having something in them that isn't beneficial
I
for us.
know, I know. Yeah, people are, "Oh, those plants, they want us to eat them. It's so romantic." And I think it's the other way around that we're here for the plants.
Yeah, I always joke that the plant, what it wants is for you to die right underneath it so that your body will decompose and release all your wonderful nutrients to feed it.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, they have a plan.
It was
Yeah.
their idea to bury people, I'm sure. The plant
Yeah.
ideas into us. Bury these suckers.
Yeah, yeah. Back to soy for a minute. When I researched a little bit on the history of there, soy was only ever used as a crop rotator to put nitrogen into the soil, which beans do. We do that now. We grow soy, but just to put nitrogen in the soil, we don't eat that stuff. And so if you are going to eat anything, now I didn't realize it's high in oxalates and yes, estrogenic. So don't give the tofu to your boy children for sure. Luckily,
Or
my
the
son didn't
girl.
like it. I wasn't into it either. Yeah, and then but to only eat it in the fermented versions like tempeh and miso, I believe.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
but still high oxalates. So I haven't wanted it, and that might explain why.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there too, but yeah, just don't do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And just a quick question about acne. So there's three main detox pathways, the liver being the first. If the liver can't handle the poison, it's going to send it into the kidneys. If the kidneys can't handle the load, it's going to send it out the skin. And so that's exactly what acne is. It's just poison that your body has become systemic through the cholestasis, meaning bile got out of your digestive system into your blood, and then it's going to exit the skin because it needs to exit one way or another.
And it's always you can tell by the color, red and yellow.
Ah, yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we always think sort of like white blood cells, but there's probably a good vitamin A component there as well. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of changes in my skin and some good ones recently, just way less dry, way less die off going on.
Me too.
So excellent. Good. Yeah, because that was kind of sad if we thought we'd have to go in the future with this. Like, my
I
skin would just like do this every morning, like after the shower,
well,
like, oh, it's raining
but,
over here.
after a while, I was like, "You know what? If that's how it's gonna be, if I'm gonna lose the visual, I'll still be fine because I feel so good," you
Right.
know? So,
Exactly.
well,
Exactly.
it was a big moment, but I'm really happy now with especially with the magnesium pitilate that,
Oh, fantastic.
Kelsey recommended. I'm feeling like the moisture's coming back, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's my
That's
my skin's
that's
coming back." Yeah,
and do you use that in addition to MSG or instead of?
in addition.
In
Well,
addition, okay.
I couldn't do the MSG until I started doing the magnesium pitilate,
Ah,
which basically does have gluten, it's pyroglutamate is the other name for it. Um,
pyroglutamate, yes.
yeah, yeah, so I noticed that, oh, suddenly I can do the, monosodium glutamate, much bigger portions, which I'm loving. Yeah.
I know, it's delicious. Okay, yes, I've got a whole great big bag of L-pyroglutamic acid, which I hear is the same as that magnesium pitilate, and although it's a completely different name going on there, but that's what
It's the same.
Kelsey said this week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try using it if I can take more MSG because I'm on a teeter-totter with the MSG that, I can go 1 pinch for sure and not pay any price, but 2 pinches after about 5 days, my body's going like, "Woohoo, let's release copper fast."
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you
oh,
gotta watch that copper, release. I think that the copper is more intense than the vitamin A, actually, for me
exactly.
at least, because of all the chocolate that I ate.
Right, right. Luckily, it quit me. I couldn't continue with that chocolate. It was, yep, that was good. My body just knew. It's like, "Back off." So, yeah, I even had one little thing on what, day, some occasion it was, and, just had half of a thing that had chocolate on top of it. Well, in seconds, I broke out my skin. It just went like from my mouth right to my skin and it's out of there. So it
Wow.
didn't last, luckily. It was, like a shingles breakout.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, it didn't set off a whole mechanism, but yeah, it was a very clear sign, like this is poison. That magnesium pidolate, it's PIDO.
OLATE.
Okay, yeah, yeah, and it's from nootropics.
Yeah, nootropic. NOOTROPICS.
Okay, if you feel like it, drop it in the chat, and
I
they
don't know
could
how to do that, Beth.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So I also feel like recommending a supplement. It's not good just to take a recommendation and run with it. You need to learn and understand your own body with it too. So I know that was my bad habit. I'd hear something on the grapevine, I'd run and I'd get it, and I'd take a lot of it, just like without any knowledge at all.
Yeah, and this is after I've done all kinds of different magnesiums that didn't quite the chlorides didn't work as well for me, whereas this one, it's doing a really great job for me.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
want to try.
because I searched and tried. I didn't just go like, "Oh, I'll do this."
Yeah,
And I've had my blood tested and my hair tested. So I'm not just like shooting in the dark. Um,
exactly.
I definitely need to restore my magnesium supply because I've been using up so much of it because of, trying to my body's working.
There you go. There you go. All right, so we are now on the low glycemic index diet. So
Well, that's just a pretty simple one. I mean,
yeah,
it's all about the glycemic index. I mean, if I were to follow that now, I wouldn't be eating 2 or 3 bananas in a row, which I do sometimes when I need them. I find that a lot of these diets that are so like, here's the precise number, here's the, all of I'm finding that they're moot, they don't it's different when you're not taking in a whole bunch of poisons. It's a completely different universe. You can't go by the same rules of like food combining, let's say. You know, it I don't need any food combining when I'm not eating poisons. I think it's more have to do more with, combining the poisons. Um,
I
poison
know.
combining is, you know what I mean? Like all these things that are so popular and the yin and the yang of this, it's so it's a different universe. Like things that I needed before, I don't need anymore because I was just trying to kind of suppress some reaction to something when I kept adding the poison. So, and that's I think is what makes anybody qualified to even just talk about things. You just try it. That's you just try something. So I get an A for trying many things. And the same thing, thank God I didn't shut down like a lot of people do. Like a lot of people that come to a point where they're just like, no, I've tried everything. I've tried everything. I don't want to do anything else. Right? I'm just so grateful that even with all the stuff that I went through and all the negative things that have happened to me from the things that I tried, that I still continued to be open and in search, and I tried this. So, and that's the only reason I'm even talking about it publicly, because I see what it's doing to me. And,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the people around me. I have my very close friend from college. She's doing the same thing, same time as I am, and I have 2 other friends. So we're watching each other.
For sure. Yeah, that might be the lover in you, which I often see, and it's that the truth or bust.
Mhm.
We're not gonna compromise and stop because I have the trying fatigue
Mhm.
going on, and yeah, like I avoided trying burnout by not trying everything, and like I would more block. Oh, new trend, don't look at it. Don't consider it. That's my denial strategy. And yeah, it's such an extremely good point. I want to emphasize it is different when you're not intoxing on a regular basis. And that's my only claim to fame. I'm not Some people criticized Garrett that he's shilling the supplements. I'm not on his supplements,
Yeah,
right?
I want
Like
Can we hit on that? Because to me, that's another thing that I think makes this very different, is that you really, and the only things that have had a really strong effect on me were things where I did not have to take any supplements. And this is definitely, it's just the food, just eliminating the poisons.
Yeah, that's a lot of magic right there. And I actually wish I could take, I can see the signs. My body would thrive if I could have more zinc. But even when I tried to, I removed the fibers from my zinc sources, meaning meat, for a
Mhm,
few days, just for one of the meals. And
mhm.
I started to detox too fast. I'm literally getting too much zinc.
Yep, yep.
So I was like, okay, bring it back. And for me now, I want to combine my fiber with my zinc sources, which is sort of backwards for someone else that might benefit from separating them for a time.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, that's yep, that's a thing. And let's see. Yeah, the
Next.
food combining, I rejected that myself. That was something, although you can see, like, if you down a smoothie on top of a burger and you don't feel good, and there's, a whole bunch of sugar, especially the like dessert after meal. When I went to India, we all would eat dessert first, knowing that it's gonna just like be fuel and burn through, and then the heavier food won't. The idea was that it would ferment because of the sugar. Is that true, or just a?
Well, I mean, depends, what are you eating? What kind of sugars, you know?
Mhm.
If
This is
it
the sugar, like.
Yeah, if it's a sugar, well, yeah, it probably will ferment,
Mhm.
but anything can ferment,
Right,
you
right.
know?
We have fermentative processes
Yeah,
inside of us on purpose, right?
yeah, yeah, and, drinking a smoothie that's not eating, if you're breaking down all these vegetables and fruits and or whatever, that's not really, we're meant to eat the fruit, the blender is our teeth.
Exactly. I know, and our jaws are getting very weak because we're not chewing that much. Although I think mine's really strong from years of grinding my teeth. So now I need a break. Thank God the low copper and the detox that I've done this last year, I do not ever grind my teeth anymore. I don't have that constant
Wow,
stress and tension in my jaw that I used to have. It's miraculous, literally.
that's awesome.
I know it was really torturous to try to like bite the teeth out of my own mouth when I'm sleeping every night. Like that's just like, oh, poor thing. So, all right, on to the anti-parasite diet. We said a little bit about this last time, but it certainly bears repeating.
Yeah.
Herbs, antimicrobials, and fear-based protocols. What would you like
So,
to share about that? Is
yeah,
there anything good in it?
well, not the way that it's presented.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about understanding. That was the one good thing that I grasped from the primal raw diet, the Ajonas von der Planets diet, that I still feel there's a lot of truth to that, which is based on the terrain theory, meaning that um, if you have dead tissue in you, parasites will be drawn to it and will multiply to try to get rid of it. Like, I started to understand the role of bacteria and parasites and funguses, not as some horrible enemy that we have to get rid of, but as just something that is already in our system. And for when we do die, when we are all dead tissue, hopefully, it will eat the rest of it and basically kind of decompose us, right? That's the job. But if you have a lot of dead tissue in you while you're still living, then more of them are going to come and clean up. So it's just like, you don't blame the crow for killing the deer on the road just because the crow is eating it. The deer was dead. That's why the crow came. So that part I think is interesting, but the way that it's presented by most people and the way it was presented to me, horrifying. When they would show you the enlarged pictures of, like, this is what it looks like, and this is attaches to you, and it will, I mean, it's just, again, it's nothing but terror of, like, being, invaded from the inside. And
Mhm.
man, it scared the bejesus out of me when I was, exposed to all of that. So I would do all like the walnut, what was it, the shells and the garlic and the turmeric, all these things, turmeric, that was supposed to kill the parasites. Basically, I was eating a lot of the spices that are naturally put into all Indian foods. Um, which I guess, it played an important function there because there was no refrigeration, I imagine, at some point. So people had to come up with ways to kill the parasites. Um,
Exactly. I know there couldn't be anything more fear porny on that side. And it was another one I'll congratulate myself that I just went like, no, no, it's a no. And it was partly the cognitive dissonance of literally not wanting to acknowledge that I have an enemy within and they're, laying eggs and squirming and all this kind of stuff. I just like when no, it was a no. And so I was very happy with myself when discovering in this last year that the parasite craze is a Rockefeller invention. And it
oh,
goes,
that's interesting.
yeah, it goes to this exact day. It still has the same momentum as it ever did, selling all of those so-called remedies that are, yes, they do kill parasites. They are a like anti-life, right? They are also killing you. So these substances are dangerous to the parasites and equally so to you. The one thing that was really big wake up for me too, that this might have included, but just that the metals content in your body
Mhm.
is very proportionate to the amount of parasites that you'll have. So as long as there's a big amount of metals to clean up, the parasites are your friend because otherwise you'd probably be dead.
Yeah, that's aluminum, I think, is what Candida favors. And
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, so when you realize like, oh, this is really trying to, get some stuff out of me and is helping me clean it up, consume it, just like, you have all these incredible microbes that you can put into a major oil spill and it will eat it. This is, I hear here in Asheville, North Carolina, there's secret missions. Young people have found that there's certain microbes that will clean up. Apparently, there's all kinds of toxins after the hurricane and radioactivity, and they're finding they're having to sneak it in because trying to create like a kind of a ground level where each neighbor will do their land, but the government is not wanting to do that kind of a cleanup, but they can really clean up stuff.
Right.
So internally and externally in the environment outside and in our inner environment. But if you don't keep giving them stuff, then they leave on their own. I always joke that it's like, there's a family of these parasites living wherever in your body, and the food stops coming in. It's kind of like, well, I think we should move, honey. You know,
Exactly. It's a little bleak around here. Yeah.
but here's the thing. The thing about the parasites that always drove me nuts is that it was about attack them, you know. And it's this whole, and if you come into anything and you attack it, it starts to really activate, and can go crazy, and you can cause yourself all kinds of very unpleasant symptoms. Whereas if you just stop feeding them, they naturally kind of feel like, oh, let's go on a vacation to some other place,
We can
and
do better. Yeah.
yeah, we can do better than this. This place is a bore.
What a
You
dump. Yeah, yeah, don't feed the trolls,
Yeah,
exactly.
or like send the kids to school and maybe we'll move too.
Yeah, yeah, and ivermectin being a really key one that amazingly it became also the cure for the big C suddenly, but yeah, this is very, very widely used. Even people that I'll say, really have a good knowledge and a good brain, and they would never put it in their own body, but they do put it in their animals. And I have a great deal of respect for my friends who do that, but it's you need to know it's a poison to us. It is a poison to them, and you get short-term good effects. The reason that you're going to have to keep on treating them over time, all the time, and again into the future, because all you're doing is killing the cure to the problem. Now, I'm no expert in livestock or anything like that, so I don't know how you'd get them to detox. But yeah, the pleomorphism, Jackie, is a really good principle to have, that organisms actually change based on their environment, and you can observe that. And yeah, your body has incredible intelligence in its own micro level. I thought I had proof of pleomorphism when by accident I left some chicken, because I use my outside as a freezer sometimes in the winter, and I forgot that this thing of chicken was out there. So I come in the spring, and it was covered in maggots. So it was just like, wow, like this, and then I'm thinking, like, but did they crawl over the balcony, or where did they come from? Some people say, well, they're passed by flies, but frankly, it felt like it came from within, because this was like a sealed container. Nothing could get in there.
Yeah, that's called that's was the primal diet. They do this thing called high meat, where they take a piece of meat and they put it in a jar with a little bit of air maybe coming in, but you leave it there for a couple of months and then you eat this. This is, I've never done that. No, I drew the line at that. But yeah, so you can basically transform a simple protid, I forget what they call it in pleomorphism. It's the Beauchamp versus Pasteur, great discussion. And it can slowly transform into a fungus, into a bacteria, and then into a parasite. And then it can also go the other way, depending on the terrain. I love that theory, and I do say theory because it is a theory, but so is germ theory. I just want people to acknowledge that they're both theories.
Right, exactly. And the truth is probably not in either extreme, and neither is it a medium. But we won't go there right now. All right, so we are moving right along here, and we're on the superfoods.
Foods diet. Thank you, David Wolf.
Yeah, was he the creator of that whole thing?
He was a huge part of it. He was all about the superfoods. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And
he was part of it, but I didn't know he was like the ringmaster there.
Well, he started the whole coconut craze, and then he went to the raw chocolate thing, and then into all the Chinese mushrooms. Oh my God. And then the maca, the mesquite, and all the exotic fruits from South America turned into powders. Crazy. The more wild the thing is, the higher the oxalates and the higher the poisons. So you're just like,
say that again, Dagmar.
Well, the more wild a fruit or plant is, the more it will have poisons and the more it will have oxalates, because the wilder survive better. That's why they survive, because they have more poisons in them. They were they were like the big winners, of the plant world. And this is where all the plants from the ocean, from the chlorella to the spirulina to I forget what else. And then all the jungle peanuts. Oh my God. People making so much money, or selling truly raw cashews. The list goes on and on. And maca, another stimulant that supposedly is really good for your libido. It's just an insane. And then chlorophyll, you did the chlorophyll too, Beth, right? Then there's the chlorophyll, which is like basically the iron of the plant. This is like, strengthen your blood with chlorophyll. Like last time I looked in the mirror, I was not a plant. There's
the big story about chlorophyll was that it was just one molecule away from blood.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're feeding your blood. But it turns out it's so jacked in copper. When I had the worst insomnia, I would take chlorophyll before bed every night. Well, no wonder I was.
I did that too.
Yep. Yeah. I didn't know until this day. I finally figured out that yes, it's stimulating. So that, I backed off on that. But yeah, the ocean plants, the chlorella spirulina
And the
right in there.
seaweeds, all the seaweeds, those are ocean plants,
Yeah.
very, very high in A and oxalates. And
And
then there's
and iodine, which you don't necessarily want.
and then all the slew of Chinese mushrooms. And I use them all the time. I would make like the best tasting fake coffee with just Duanwood reishi and chaga and hushiwu and all these other. I mean, yeah, it's chaga, for example. Great, even the Chinese, like when you go to Ron Tea Gardens store in LA, the number one distributor of all these Chinese herbs, and you ask them like about chaga, and you say, well, how's the oxalate level on that? They're like, oh no, you can't. It's crazy high. Chaga is so high oxalate that even the Chinese doctors know about it. And people who have any even remotely close to any kind of kidney issues, they can't do chaga. But I was thinking, oh, chaga, it came from the Russia, from the backwoods of Russia. It must be good. It's Slavic, because so am I. And so I was like, oh my God, I would even get the whole mushroom and then I would grind it down and I would put it into chocolate. Oh my God. And the goji berries, the longan I would put all that into my chocolate along with the almond butter, the cashew butter, the walnut butter. And they were definitely good. What else did I? Oh, and that's the superfoods, of course. Then there's the cod liver oil and the fermented cod liver oil. You know how much that stuff costs? Oh my God. I did it for a while, but it was just so disgusting that my instincts went like, I can't do this. And then we got the whole collagen and gelatin craze. And then we got the, probiotics, just like these bottles of probiotics would have like 30 different probiotics in them, and then they would say, oh, and here's the prebiotics. It's all the same. Every food you eat is a prebiotic.
Right.
But they found a way. Oh, this is a really good prebiotic.
All that means is it's like is it well, it's not fiber yet, because say sun fiber is like a prebiotic or something. I don't know, something different.
Well, it's just food for the bacteria.
Right. There you go. Should we take a quick pass at ashwagandha, and then I want to respond to some of those foods as well?
Yeah, ashwagandha. Wow. Also high in A and high in oxalates.
Okay. Considered an adaptogen, right? So that's one of its claims to fame. But
Yes.
but high in oxalates, and what was the other one?
An A.
And vitamin A. There you go. Yeah.
It's basically, I think it goes back to the asparagus family. But
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
ashwagandha, and everybody's doing it for their hormones, and the Ayurvedic people. And I love these people. They're great. And I love the way it's set up, just like the blood type diet. And I'm sure some Ayurvedic person will shoot me for this, but but it's so beautifully laid out, and the whole premise is that yes, it's something that's been around for thousands of years, so it's got to be good. But we're not the same people we were 1,000 years ago, and maybe this was, I think they had different kind of like practices for the emperors and different practices for the poor people. So you don't know which is which and what its purpose is. It's not only in the modern era that food has been used to subdue people or to make them be functional, but not so functional that they're live long, but functional
Right.
enough that they can be our slaves and keep the country going.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah, good one. I definitely took my fair share of ashwagandha because I was in India, and that seemed like the thing to do because it was this adaptogen kind of
and
thing.
adaptogens. It just sounds so good, you know?
I know exactly. Yeah, see, there was anything that there were so many. You get the reishis and the shiitakes and all of the
Yeah.
culinary. So yeah, really, again, high in copper. All the mushrooms are high in copper. So yeah, I stopped eating those entirely. Anything else about mushrooms that you know?
Um, I mean, wow. I mean, you know, we all know that pretty much if you're in the woods, don't eat the mushroom unless you absolutely know that it's not going to kill you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think they're meant for humans to eat. I think they're meant to clean the environment
Right.
because they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what else was in there? Then there was
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize the cod liver oil. So you don't want to eat liver and you don't want to eat the oil that's made from
which is
a
like
fish is like, yeah, living filter of the water to start out with. The liver is the filter of the filter. And then you make an oil, which gives it a medium to store the poison in.
the oil is like you squeezing out the worst of the liver. And then you drink it and you eat.
Right. Yeah,
So
I never went down that path. I did eat my weight in goji berries. They were considered magical food. And now I'm thinking about the person who turned me on to all these foods, and boy, they were jacked up.
they
Like,
are major nightshade. Goji berries are
ah,
major nightshade, very high in oxalates and A. I mean, you know, just look at their color. Anything that's strong colored, like that kind of red, and God knows what else, probably all kinds of phenols. Um, Same thing also with the superfood beet craze. You know, the
yep.
beet powders. I mean, it's just great marketing. You know, nitric oxide, you're going to build your nitric oxide with this beet powder because you need it, because that will calm you down. Well, just gently breathing in and out with your nose, not your mouth, you are making your own nitric oxide in your nasal cavity. So you don't need to jack yourself up on crazy high oxalates from the beet and A. So it's wow. And I used to, like, I put a little piece of beet into everything that I would blend.
There you go. I was lucky I didn't really like beets that much, so I would have just a little bit of like a condiment now and again. I come home from the farm and I'd have one beet, and people look at me like, "What's wrong with you?" And yeah, I didn't like carrots either. I would have about one a year, same kind of effect, just for an orange thing on the plate. And yeah, just didn't like that. So all right. Well, that's a lot of good information there. Sorry, David Avocado Wolf, but yeah.
And he's a, you know, he's an okay guy, you know. It's like I said in the beginning, we never perceive ourselves as the villain in our own story.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
all, we're trying to do something good. We're trying to, you know, like that's all I ever want is to share, you know, what my intentions are very good.
Yeah. And unless you're a psychopath, you can't harm knowingly. You won't be able to do that, especially not for a long time. But you know, it's kind of hard to say where it goes off the rails. And where money's concerned, that can be quite a painkiller. So if
Mhm,
you're suffering on the inside due to some moral conflict of some kind, the money might dull the pain, let's say.
mhm, mhm.
And you know, forgive me, the guy sells ivermectin. So
No.
yes, is and to the tune of, I mean, I heard $10 million.
Well,
I know he's going to come after me. I said that on X one day, and then he suddenly followed me, and I'm like, oh, David on my track here. But like, how can you justify that? Promoting everything natural, 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 but all of a sudden, oh, this drug is the bomb.
but here's the catch though.
Hmm.
All that natural, natural, natural is really no different than ivermectin. I mean, that's the whole point of these superfoods, you know, or just eating tons of vegetables. You know, yeah, they're natural. But as we know, like tobacco is a pesticide, coffee is a pesticide. It's natural, right?
Right.
So there's that other layer. So you really can't blame that on anyone because it's so deeply ingrained, in us. It's so a part of our life. The whole bringing tea from China, tea, another crazy high oxalate, um,
Mm.
tannins, and A. I think tea is high in A too, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it probably would depend on which one. I know rooibos very high because it's like that bright
Well,
red
I'm talking
color,
like regular tea, chai,
black tea.
like tea. You have black tea,
Mhm.
green tea, white tea, all of them are high in oxalates and caffeine, you know,
Right,
which is a pesticide.
right.
So when you're I mean, it's almost like sacrilege to say, "What? Our tea ceremony or our coffee break or our, afternoon crumpets and tea, are you saying that that's not good?" No. We have so many beautiful rituals that come from this, that are part of that it's passed on. So it's really hard to how do you address that, with most normal people would be like, what kind of what do you call the person who goes against religion and then they burn them? Heretic, like being a heretic. Um,
Yep, exactly. So that's good to know. Yeah, you were saying also just about how they use the foods and the diets and everything, and we think about our history. Oh, well, the grandpa did it or the great grandpa did it, and that must be good. And then so the beer was specifically designed to take the strong men out. They apparently it was in the monasteries, and the male monks were using the beer to take their testosterone out because it's intensely estrogenic, and it
oh,
would make them soft and squishy and have no aggression whatsoever or ability to defend themselves. And then, beer is considered a man's drink. It's
wow. Isn't that amazing though?
yeah.
But I love your words of soft and squishy. Yeah, it's a man's drink. Makes you soft and squishy.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, back to just a comment about psilocybin here. The very reason that you get high on psilocybin is because your liver has been poisoned. That's exact reason. I had a boyfriend that was smart enough to know the biochemistry of the psychedelics. That's how they work. They poison you. And so then you have to contend with that. And personally, to me, the juice of that is not worth the squeeze anymore. There was a time where I felt like it was, but I don't want to be damaged by my spiritual inner work, or never mind entertainment. That's something. So yeah, I used to throw up your milk assembly. I'm sorry to hear that, Jackie. That sucks. And golden milk. I never went for it. I heard about it. Everybody thought it was so great. I would buy turmeric. I wouldn't use it.
They
But
make in LA, they sell at the farmers market, they sell a golden kefir where they make a kefir with turmeric in it. It's so gross.
yeah, exactly. Oh, I can't believe how that must taste. So no, I don't know why. I just did not go for the turmeric. I ended up storing the turmeric for the apocalypse famine, and yeah, it's now in the graveyard of all my foods and supplements I don't eat anymore. And you find it hard to believe. Well, that's the interesting part. He might not take it. He just sells it, right? He might not take it. And it's this is a little bit of a point I was going to make, that because all of those, coconut, raw chocolate, maca, um, the chlorella, the cod liver oil, the collagen, everything, it's taken the same exact way allopathic medicine prescribes. Oh, you got this ill, take this,
Mhm.
natural remedy. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's
You got arthritis, take your collagen.
That's right. It's pointing a gun at a symptom,
Yeah.
and so then flipping over to ivermectin isn't such a big stretch,
Yeah, no, no,
right?
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're very welcome. And turmeric also very high in oxalates. Yeah, I just hate that stuff. Like I said, I would buy it and not use it. It would sit on the counter and rot away, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I, won't buy that for a little while until I forget.
I'm saving all those. I still have like bags of various, cloves, turmeric, curry. I'm saving it for the zombies when they come.
There
All
you go.
big turmeric balls and be going, "Here."
Yeah, make it in chocolate, nice, contained in
Nice.
chocolate for
Yes, 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 absolutely. I know. I still have chocolate. I haven't touched it now for 4 years, but I still have some, and cacao butter and cacao paste, and, yeah, just
What's up with cacao, by the way? Say, is there the cacao butter, which
mhm.
would have no caffeine in it, but what would be wrong with it other than the high fat?
Oh, yeah, I stayed with this, I talked myself into, "Oh, I'll just make white chocolate."
Yeah.
Which I did, but I would then put Chinese mushrooms in it, and it would taste like real chocolate, and it, gave it a little coloring with the chaga in it. I think it still has that terrible fat in it and some other things. It's just not worth eating it, you know?
Yeah, I put one of those raw chips in my mouth a few months after starting the Love Your Liver, and it was so bitter and disgusting. I'm like, "Did this go bad, or this is how it really tastes?" And I'm just noticing it now. Okay, I couldn't figure it out. So, yeah, recommending the turmeric for arthritis, which it will cause, right? Like, it will literally build up. The vitamin A is a nemesis to your joints.
And it's a big part of the anti-inflammatory diet. That's another diet, you know, tried for a very short time, but yeah,
I
the
know. Yeah, when inflammation is considered to be the enemy, it's like, but what caused the inflammation, you guys? Come on. We gotta take one more step, figure that out. Yeah, and then the black pepper, Jackie, I realized that was poison because in India, I OD'd in a restaurant. They just use way too much black pepper in this little southern India corner of, what was it? Probably Kerala, and, I would just have a big reaction every time I ate their food, so I knew that black pepper was not for me. I never used it on my food otherwise and walked away from it, but yeah, definitely.
it sort of is similar like fulvic acid. The black pepper helps to absorb other poisons. That's why they always say, when you do turmeric, you must do some black pepper with it so that it will absorb better. Like, oh, great, great. And it's also, black pepper is very high in oxalate. Like, the oxalate people will say, do white pepper. Well, okay, it's lower in oxalates, but there's other stuff in there.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, and it tastes terrible. Come on, you guys.
Well,
Something
and it's that need for
bleh.
something. What does that those kind of stimulating foods, what do? They kind of hit you like a sharp, like, you feel it's that need to, and we've been so trained. I mean, I'm really, a heretic against Western civilization in what I'm saying here, because we've been trained to be stimulated and have a high from it, from the kind of programs we watch, from the news itself, right? So the spices and all that, they give us that hit of what we it's like we're repeating the pattern that's been kind of put into our everyday life, not because it's natural. We shouldn't be that stimulated unless we're, being chased by some, lion or something. Yeah, then we should be stimulated and fully alert, but not the way we are in everyday, modern life. It's a lot.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, you don't want the phone to ring and then you go into, like, hyper fight and, flight mode, so yeah, yeah, and with their big copper, I don't know particularly about the black pepper. I wouldn't doubt it, but I don't know. You can
Yeah.
always ask your ChatGPT and verify in case they're
Well,
lying.
right.
What's that?
The Chat GPT really knows.
Mm. Yeah, it can, but it should be verified. Absolutely every little bit of, data, if you wanna call it knowledge, has to be verified. They are known for lying. They've misattributed two quotes to me, said I said this, and then when I said I didn't say that, they're like, "Oh, oops, sorry." They're, like, programmed to apologize. So, it's really funny. Alright, so we are only at 15. I bet we're not gonna finish today,
Oh,
Dagmar,
yeah,
but
yeah.
if you think that, you might be available to do one more.
I would love to do one more and
Okay.
get to some of the really get into some of these, which are more recent decade. Yeah,
Okay.
because there's some good ones in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, is that a good place to leave it for now? And we can just chat a bit since it's already 10 minutes to the second hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know that went really
Oh,
fast.
wow, that really
Yeah,
did go fast. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And if anyone has any questions, so yeah, we'll have to, because 1 week today is which kind of day? Something like Christmas. Is it the day after Christmas? So yeah, Boxing Day, it's not the best, but we can just get together and talk and see if you want to do an episode that day.
I'm fine. I'm
Um,
fine with it, but I don't know
okay.
what your schedule is, so.
I barely have any plans. I don't have friends. I don't have family. Like, it's
Okay.
not true. I do have friends actually, but and I have family. I just don't see them, and I don't get invited to the dinners. No bitterness over here or anything like that, and which is fine. It's all good. Black pepper kills bacteria. It's probably why they loved it in India.
Yeah.
So it kills good stuff too. Exactly. This is the kind of thinking you want to. We were totally brainwashed with that. Oh, it kills bacteria, therefore put it in your mouth like this. I'm still a little on the edge with silver, even though Garrett is very into silver. Oh, and let's make sure to answer that question that came up at the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Take it away. What's your response, Beth?
yeah, let's do that exactly. So someone asked us last time on the way out, and I promised to answer this. That oh, you meant copper in the cacao butter? Yeah, I'm kind of guessing too.
Yeah.
So on the way out, because it sound like we are in the cult of Garrett Smith. I know we do. I know because there's been an awakening. There has been a like aha, but it's not because he makes sense when he talks. It's because what he says makes sense in my body. I have never in my life been able to walk, like it's always been 90% mystery. And that's what pushed me to really develop the mental, spiritual, emotional work because that's all I had.
Mhm.
I didn't even have truth at the level of health. It was always a big question mark. And so having found things that not only make scientific verifiable through the medical research from many different angles. It's not just, oh, one article said this. It's not like that. It
Mhm.
is a compare and a contrast. The guy provides all the receipts, the exact links to the exact papers, and he talks through them and he helps you to learn so that you yourself could start to understand without being dependent on him. Now, I don't have to go to him with every question. I can literally go to the medical research and do justice to a degree. I don't want to overstate that ability yet, but it's growing. And so if I can verify and I can gain control over my health, then I get excited. I'm like, wow, this is new. Better late than never. This is who knows how long my life is after this. Could be longer. We've been joking, a few of us in the back end, that somebody was saying to me yesterday, maybe we'll be the last 3 people on Earth
Mhm.
after, if we make this experiment. And we maintain health beyond what other people are able to do. May or may not happen. Someone just wrote me, oh, my 70-year-old one friend is doing fantastic, doing all the wrong things. Can you explain that? And it's like, no, I can't. And I don't know her and I don't understand the ins and the outs or her life and her history or anything. Like, I literally could say nothing about that. And it's possible she has a miraculous relationship with God and there's something that trumps everything. All healing is the grace of the divine at the end of the day. But there's a lot more knowledge that we could have. We're just in a place in history that Garrett's work is unique. There isn't anyone that says what he's saying. They haven't made the same discoveries about toxic bile theory, which became toxic bile paradigm because of the incredible reliability. Here's another major thing is that because he doesn't work with one person or just ideas and push around ideas, he has people that hire him and rely on him. And it's not just once you go to see him and then you move on, like a lot of the practitioners. We're there for 6 months at a time. I'm
Mhm.
now signed up for 18 months into the future. Why? Not because I'm in trouble, it's because the quality of the education is unparalleled. I go every single time to his office hours, even though it's in the middle of my day. It's very if you could call it expensive time, I could be doing something really productive with that time, but I am, because I'm getting I'm getting the goods, and I'm getting to see through many people's eyes, their wins, their struggles too, to see how it goes, and you become a detective for yourself, for others. He doesn't push the supplements down your throat. He's not shilling his brand. Yes, they are a high quality that he himself wants to take. That's probably what started them making their own supplements, because they weren't finding the quality that they wanted. But, if I want to make my own magnesium oil, it's a simple recipe and they provide it. So it's not much of a money making business, although he is a very good entrepreneur. He sells very well. You won't get a single email that doesn't have a link to a product. So he takes care of himself that way. He's got a big ship to run. And is this the only approach? To me, it's just the one that makes sense. And it's a growing paradigm, it's a growing body of knowledge. We've seen over our time of involvement how he comes out with new research. Kelsey is a groundbreaker. If you didn't see the interview from yesterday, Kelsey Kenny, when there's a problem, she dives in to the cell and the molecular biology side of things and discovers, what has been either buried or demonized, like MSG. So this is a team I want to be on.
Mhm.
They are forward thinking. They are hugely compassionate. I hear, like, Garrett could be such a jerk to a lot of people who are stuck and they can't have a new thought, and maybe every week they're having the same thought, and that happens, right? Like, I hear myself do it. It's like, oh, I want to ask that question again that I already asked 50 times, and I still want to ask it because there's something, some other factor here. But he's nothing but kind and patient and compassionate. And I've been through some hellish stuff too in this last year, and they were there for me. They didn't slough me off or say, like, oh, save it for this time or that time. He has good boundaries, but he also has a very big heart. So anything you want to add to that?
I just wanna I love what everything you said. You're so eloquent. The education. See, to me, this is what distinguishes this from many other things that I have done. That even you I don't need any of his supplements. I love them and I use some of them, but there's no need for them. Like, I keep going down to base 1, which is just the food. That's my resting place. Um, and, um, the education, the being able to connect, like, we only got halfway through my stuff, when I connect some of the ones that we will talk about next week, those get I continued to get more and more and more scientific as I went on and on. And, originally, someone told me about Garrett, and they asked me to debunk him because they just were getting into their raw cream and their raw dairy and all that, and they were like, "You have to debunk him." I go, "No problem." And as I dove into it, just the dive into it, I realized, like, oh, there's more education here. And I kept going and going. And I realized I started to connect all the things that I had done in the past, specifically in a scientific way. When did which symptoms show up and how I kept being misled. Like, I've done so many bad things, but I was fine. Up until a certain point, then I'd do something else, and I never would connect them. I wouldn't connect, like, what happened, when, and why. And his education and also Grant Genereux's 3 books, which I read, his free PDFs, were truly, like, just gave me, I mean, that's why I can't hide my enthusiasm, about, what I learned. because so many things that not only in my life, but in my family's life, I saw how things shifted when we started to add more copper and when we started to add tons and tons of A, and when we started to, or when we would take something away. I would see how things changed and how some would improve and some would get worse. But what I love is that I can go, that Garrett has given us tools to go on PubMed. You know, you're not going to some strange hidden, you know, you just go on PubMed and there's so much amazing research there. You know, now how to read that research. I feel so much more confident about that. And just understanding that I mean, I never even thought of bile. I never even occurred to me, right? You know, to put that together and to be thinking about like, oh, so this is already by itself the most toxic substance in our body. And that we all have a certain recipe of that, and that basically we're just trying to get it to not be super crazy toxic, you know, by not putting in more toxins, just let it do its thing of removing daily type of stuff, but not have to deal with the burden of constantly adding more and more. So once I grasped the whole bile thing, I was like, wow, how could I have missed that? But then it's easy, you know, because, you know, even if you go take biology, or even I was pre-med. So I still missed it. I still missed it. And I didn't get into it like that. But now that I have that in my pocket, I can look at all the other things that I've done and see why they worked or why they didn't. So anyway, so I just think that I don't think this is the only thing. But I think that right now it is, for me, the only thing that is able to put an umbrella over everything that I have done over 48 years and tried. You know, it's like the only umbrella that can capture it all and put it into perspective. And that I'm experiencing it and seeing what it does. So
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hearing from you, and yeah, it's a good team. It's a good team. There's good people in there. That's also one of the ways that I evaluate the efficacy of a practitioner is who is surrounded. You know, what are the quality of the people that are around? Are
mhm.
they, you know, willing to actually research, or do they just want to listen to somebody say that they're doing the research and with no worry of like opening a link or following up on anything, never mind the detective work in yourself. And that's now I can't believe how low my standards were for research.
Me too.
Crazy. Oh boy, that's embarrassing. But now, you know, the first thing I'm going to do is okay, like what evidence do you actually have? And it's not going to be just like so and so said or the YouTube said, or like let's actually see comparative literature where studies were actually done. And that's one thing I appreciate too, because I ask a lot of questions in that forum, and they will just say there's no research on it.
Mhm.
Maybe they'll have a guess or an opinion or something like that, but the first thing is, like, there's no research on that. I kept trying to get them to answer me about the topical use of things like magnesium and niacin and it's or metals, because I got myself a zinc bracelet in case I could tolerate the zinc wearing it, but there's just no research to go back, and they will not just admit that, but they will be very forthright, not leading you to believe things that have no basis. So
Mhm.
it's a very non-religious, non-belief base. Oh, trust the faith, trust the process, or not trust the faith, but you know, have faith in the process kind of thing. It's none of that. It's much more science based, and I appreciate that so much. We should do a short intro of that for the upcoming bio podcast. Yeah, yeah, that's a smart idea. I think we're doing that tomorrow early in the morning. Not my best time, I tell you, but I'll have to. I don't know what I'll do to. I might have to drink coffee tomorrow. Just stimulate, or what is some? I'll take some other poison to stimulate me in the morning, which I probably don't need. I'll get on my vibrate. Oh, I got a vibration plate by the way, thanks to you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you sent me that workout, that 10-minute workout that she does on a vibration plate.
Oh, I do it on my little trampoline. I vibrate myself.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, yeah, it's a really good tool. I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh,
I
good.
also got a sauna blanket. I'm not as happy with that, I have to say. At first, I was thrilled just because I thought I had fixed my sweating, um, desire to sweat more, but it's not that good. I don't know. I'm gonna experiment with it a little over the weekend, and I just don't sweat that easily, so somehow, I don't know. Have you tried anything like that,
I
Dagmar?
have I have a infrared sauna that I do go I
Mhm,
also
actual sauna.
it takes me quite a while to break into a sweat.
It does too? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, yeah,
I think maybe next week, could we also talk about I would love to share just a little bit about the Buteyko breathing,
totally.
technique because I think I can kind of sum it up. It's a really good it's a wonderful addition to Garrett's work and also what Kelsey was talking about yesterday. The breathing, and it's very simple, and you can just do it anytime, anywhere while you're driving, walking. Yeah.
Fantastic. I put it on the list for next time. So, yeah, we'll keep you guys posted if it's going to be 1 week today on Boxing Day. I think it could be okay, but I don't know yet for sure. So stay tuned. If you're not already a subscriber at my website, you could go there and sign up for a King Hero Archetype quiz or an Ascension Myth Busting training for both for free and or anything. Just put up your hand and we can be in contact. I always send out notices about these live streams, and I think we're going to have 22nd coming up. We'll see you guys Monday here for Alex Michael, who is the conspiracy music guru. We're going to be talking solfeggio. I don't talk frequencies with very many people because it's not what I cracked it up today. We could probably put that on the list, or the frequency machines and stuff like that. I think maybe we sort of covered that last time.
Oh, actually, that is kind of a health cult too.
It
Uh,
really is.
we should do a little with that. Yeah.
Okay, it's on the list for sure. Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, breathing is good. Breathing is very, very good, right? That's you can live with 2 days without food, and you can live, well, 2 days without water. I think, what is it?
No, no, it's much. No, it's like 10 days. It's much longer without food and a little less water, and then with breath. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like minutes.
yeah.
That's over for you. So yeah, breathing super important, and it is a good part of healing. That's something that I've learned to do, especially when people are immobilized in any way, that maybe you can't jump on that trampoline, but you can, like, just do this on it, and breath work, which will move your system. When I was really sick a few years back, I moved my lymph with the breath every day, every day, every day, all day, breathing and breathing and breathing. I have a really strong diaphragm now, actually.
That's awesome.
And yeah, yeah, there can be some. I'll put that on the list.
Well, because there's so many misconceptions where people think carbon dioxide is bad and oxygen is good, and to understand that you need a certain level of carbon dioxide to make the oxygen actually be able to be integrated into your tissues. So that and the Buteyko breathing really it's quite a trip. It's quite a
Okay.
trip. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll add the pranayam to the talk about breathing. Okay, fantastic. Good. Well, thank you very much. Honestly, I couldn't have done justice to a lot of this, and more to come.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that you could come and do this and keep going with me.
I took a couple for the team.
Exactly.
All the diets that I've done.
Exactly. Exactly. Now we get your lived wisdom, which truly is an expertise of kinds. So yeah, I think that's all for today. You can find me at bethmartins.com, and there are number of ways to get involved. The creator code course is going to be starting in January on the 14th. This is for the either visioneers or want to be visioneers who feel like there's too much heaviness in their life right now. and they're not able to put what they want out in front of them, or they're doing that, but they know that it's not coming from a clean place. It's exhausting them, or they get exhausted in the process. And so this is going to be a really beautiful thing. I've got a good crew already signed up for this, and about maybe another 8 or 9 spots are left. So if you'd like to join before December 29th is the best time. If you connect with me, because the early bird will end there. It's a very deeply, I don't want to use the D word, but there's deep savings on the course right now, because you're going to be actually assisting me by giving me feedback and letting me know how to improve this for future creators to come, because this is probably something I'm going to be doing on a regular basis, maybe 3-4 times a year even. So, yep, that's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thanks again. I'm going to play us out, and I think that's all ready to go. So lots of love, Dagmar.
You too, Beth.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye.
Bye for now.
Oh, my true guide, Lord and supporter of all, forever free from identity. Be well, I'm dwelling in you. Be well, I am dwelling in you.